Hi everybody! So today is going to be a little bit of a different vlog. There is some interesting stuff happening today and it's a Monday. So I thought I would just maybe record a little bit of the day and see how it goes. Yeah, I don't untie my shoes. Whoops. So Mondays I normally do grocery shopping and meal prep. Today is going to be a little bit different. I'm still going to plan my meals and get like the flavors started cooking. But I have a fitting here in a little bit and I have one. Ooh, that winded me. And then I have one later this evening. And my little guy's with me, so I thought I would show you guys what it's like to do a Monday with a kiddo around doing bridal seamstressing. So I'm going to get started packing up the car to head over to my shop. So it is summertime where I live, and it is hot, hot. So the very first step before even packing anything up is to turn the car on and get the air conditioning going. Because otherwise it's going to be too roasty in here. And I also have some stuff I'm bringing to the shop. I got some chocolates for my brides. I don't want those to melt in the car either, so I'm going to turn this on. I totally see why they invented remote start now though, because getting out of the house to turn the car on, you know, first world problems. So I brought some goodies to add to my shop today. I got my new cup order from Wawak, and I can see they put my ribbon in there too. My kiddo decided to throw his water cup in here. There's a little water on this bag, but I have blue lollipops. I have my artwork that I just got, and I'm going to hang that up somewhere in here. I have these clear acrylic shelves from Amazon to hold some products I got in. I have some belts and just, you know, just to have some shelves here. That has, I think, 4 in there. And then my favorite item is covered in water because, yes, kiddo water cup. These are Ferrero Rocher white chocolate. Yums. I like having little treats for my brides. I've been trying to find stuff that's really pretty, either blue or white, you know, just on brand for bridal. So this is my little refreshment stand. I have some little coffee flavored candies and some pink lollipops, but I'm also gonna add some blue ones. Of course, the minute I speak, an air blower turns on. That's normal for my life. And then I added the white chocolates up there. And then when brides come, I put some cold waters up front here. I think that looks cute. Yeah, I like that. And then I'm going to restock all of my cups. I went through and I save all the baggies from the cups that I sell so that I know which styles are popular for me. And I reorder them in 3 or 4 sets. So I know I have plenty for the brides that are for my area. I kind of love this. I'm unboxing the shelves that I got from Amazon, and it came with not just the hardware, but a little screwdriver. I mean, I already have plenty, but that's so cute. I love that. So when deciding where I want these shelves to go, I also need to consider not just like the wall space that I have, because I have a lot of wall space, but like where do I want someone to stand while they look at whatever's on this shelf? And I think what I might do, because I already kind of am designating this as a place I want people to stand, I think I might do a couple of the shelves up here, because I don't want people standing too close to me while I'm, you know, using my work surface. And yes, this is how it really looks all the time. It looks like a cluster. So I think putting at least one shelf up here for either for belts, appliques, or you know, other bridal items, I think this makes a lot of sense. That way I'm telling people this is a good place for you to stand while you're getting a little snacky snack. Okay, so that's how the shelf looks up, and I love it. I think I'll put 2 of them and put the stuff on the higher one eventually with belts on the lower part on cards, but I love how that looks. That's so cute. All right, so I just did my fitting. I pinned out for a sides in, a booty scoop, bustle, and then some readjusting at the sides and bust line here. We're gonna save fitting the waist. She's currently pregnant, so exciting. It's a secret yet. And then she's tall enough that she doesn't need a hem. I'm gonna go ahead and steam and straighten all this goodness down here. And then we're gonna save that middle part for the end, which will be really great. I can see that when it's on her, it has the lift of wanting to round out for belly shape. So we'll probably end up doing some darts horizontally through here and covering with flowers to accommodate. Isn't this dress stunning? I love 3D florals. You cannot twist my arm against a 3D floral. Isn't that just beautiful? Woo! Okay, so I'm going to make my notes really quick from that fitting. She had already seen another seamstress who was taking a different approach and had quoted really high, but an appropriate price for the stuff that she was going to do. So we explained what she was wanting and how she wanted to approach the alterations on her dress, as far as not shortening from the waist as I normally would do for a growing baby belly. That's usually the easiest way to I want to say combat, make it sound like it's like a difficulty. But when you're looking at a growing belly, the most challenging part is phasing the whole process so that you can make sure that as they grow, your alterations are like piggybacking off of each other nicely. So I'm going to start with the booty scoop and the hip, like below the hip knee area take in. Start with that first because that's probably not going to change on her between now and the next time I see her. Because she doesn't want to shorten the waist where all that boning is, we're going to look at leaving that in place and darting through the sides to come around and reduce some of the fabric, kind of like how you would do on a bust line. So we're going to think of the round belly as a round boob shape. So just think of it as one large, round shape, and darting the sides, using high belly button as the apex, if you can imagine that. Does that make sense out loud? Maybe it sounds weird. And using some of the florals that get edited from the knee area to kind of cover up any of those lines that we need to cover up. It'll be beautiful. But that's where the only hard part is that there's some stages to getting the fit down that might otherwise feel like finicky, or like closer towards the end of the deadline. So anybody who has a growing baby body, I like to save towards like their final pickup will be like if they get married on a Saturday or Sunday, they're picking up on Monday. So that way we can see that it's going to zip, close, button, buckle, whatever it does that same week. And hopefully there's not going to be like a major growth spurt between those few days. So as long as the communication is really good, I feel good, she feels good in both directions. So I'm really excited. The dress is gorgeous. She's gorgeous. We had a lovely conversation while we were working, and isn't that the best? I just love that. So, and my kiddo has been scurrying all around the floor, restocking the refrigerator and checking outside for the guy blowing, the leaves. So I'm gonna probably get him some lunch here as soon as I get all packed up, but I have to write my notes down because I will forget what we're doing, which would be a bad thing. So I'm gonna get to that right now. Well, I think I need new storage for my cups because, as they say, my cups overfloweth. Okay, so I got all packed up, got the air conditioner going. We're gonna run to the bank really quick to deposit a check, and then we're gonna grab some lunch and head home. Nice work. So I also made time to go pick up this shoe rack that I'm turning into a blanket rack by taking out the extra poles in the middle. One of the most important things about my Mondays is just figuring out how to make things easier for myself on other days of the week. And one of the things I struggle with when I'm doing laundry is not having enough space for stuff in my utility closet in the hallway. So I'm going to be taking some blankets out of there to make room for the towels and other stuff I need to backstock because somebody is getting big and getting into everything lately. So this will help me do better during the week in general because I can put things away a little bit better. I don't mind if he wants to play with blankets and stuff like that. So this is a much better solution for us. Okay, so I'm just going to go through my fridge and see what I have. I think I'm going to make a Cajun rice, red beans and rice kind of vibe this week. Fruits, I always try to prep and cut into like containers like this so they're ready to go for the rest of the week. This mango I need to make into jam because it's a little bit softer than I like to eat it at. Green onions and regular onions I need to make into pasta salad. A regular veggie drawer, I'll probably use some of this onion here. So I'm just going to see what I have in the fridge first to get started and then kind of plan some of the rest of the meals. I've got just a little bit of dishes to do here. It's so hard to make a dirty kitchen sink look aesthetic. So this is the only part of the kitchen that looks like appropriately dirty right now. The rest is a mess from the weekend. So I'm going to be simultaneously cleaning and doing some dishes at the same time. Okay, so we have lunch, and I need to go through the fridge and see what we already have that needs to be used this week. And then I'm going to figure out my meal plan for the week. I'm feeling kind of sore today, so I'm just going to kind of play by ear what I'm going to do next. There's still some dishes that need to get done. And yeah, just overall cleaning out the fridge and making sure I'm ready for the week. I have some meat defrosting that I might cook tomorrow, and maybe I'll get like a marinade made. Careful. He's learned how to climb up the table, so that's been fun. So I'm going to kind of prep stuff like that. So I don't cook the entire meals all the way out on Mondays. What I do is I get the stuff that takes the longest to prep done. So I made a scallop potato dish a while back, and I did like 90% of the preparation, and I even like got it 75% baked. So that way during the week, all I need to do is add like cream and butter to it and then put it in the oven and it was ready to go. So that's kind of what I've been doing on Mondays. Or like I'll cook down a bunch of onions, so that way, you know how they take forever to get all nice and goldeny and translucent. So I'll just cook off a bunch of stuff like that. And then I've also been throwing some of that into the freezer in like a quart size freezer bag. He's eating a cookie. I love that. It's got a little peanut gallery over here. But yeah, it's been really effective for me because I feel like it's really nice to have homemade dinners. And I'm not going for like ultra healthy food per se. I'm not going for junk food per se. It's just my goal is to be able to have something that's homemade during the week, and that helps me feel less guilty and stressed. There's a lot of guilt and stress around being a parent and trying to work at the same time and like balancing out, you know, trying to do everything. And honestly, you're not going to do everything, and you're not going to do everything great every day or, you know, even at all. So that's something that I found that helps me feel really good, is if I can try to set aside the time to get chores addressed in one swoop, or get some cooking. You know, like I said, this pre-starting really helps. So on the weekdays when I come home from work, I maybe only need to put 15 minutes into making the rest of the dinner out. And I'm not making the kitchen ultra dirty, because I can make it ultra dirty today, and then hopefully I can get it cleaned up tonight too. My partner usually does most of the dishes, which I'm super thankful for, because, you know, I do this big round of cooking, and then the kitchen does get pretty hairy. So I appreciate that so greatly. But that helps me feel good and helps me manage my guilt, which I shouldn't even have guilt feelings about it, but that's just real life. I didn't know how much guilt there was going to be for just trying to live as a, you know, as a parent, specifically as a mom, and wanting to maintain keeping a job. It's hard to feel like you're doing everything correctly every day. And this is just one little thing that helps me feel some peace about it all, because I don't want us to be getting takeout every night. I do still love getting pizza out, and I do still love getting burgers out, but this way I can feel, you know, like I'm doing nice dinners every night, or closer to every night. And then too, it's like I'm thinking ahead for myself too. So when I come home stressed from work and I have like a nice, delicious, creamy pasta sauce dish ready for myself, that's exciting too, you know. So it's, I'm trying to think of it, you know, as just something that's positive to help me along. So I'm going to peek through my pantry and my fridge and see what I have and come up with my list now. This is a really good example of what I mean by pre-cooking the flavor. So now, I'm not the best cook in the world or anything, but this is bell pepper, green onion, yellow onion, and I already cooked it down, so it's ready to use. I don't have to sit at the stove multiple times this week to get flavor. These are just ready to use now, which is really nice. So I can put these into anything I want, and they already have the basis of good flavor started. Okay, so this is the first set of food that I've cooked out for today. I used up the rest of the mango that I had to make a little jam topping kind of vibe that can go on waffles or toast or ice cream or something. A pasta salad. This, I can add a protein to this during the week. This is mostly all done. Olive oil, Parmesan, red onion, salt, pepper. Nice and easy. This one is the Cajun. Okay, I made this up. This is like a Cajun risotto. I have no idea. I'm not a good cook. Okay, so I make things up that are fusion-y. You're excited about it? Me too. So to reheat this during the week, what I'll do is add a little bit of water and and cheese. so that it gets like, it's creamy now because the way I cook it, but it'll be creamy and delicious when I'm done, ready to serve it during the week. I love this one. So yeah, now these just need to cool, and then I can cover them and put them in the fridge for the week. Okay, so I want to prepare at least one more dinner, so I'm kind of looking around a pantry to see what else I have. I always have a boatload of pasta in all different shapes and just noodles. This is poorly organized right now, so ignore that. Maybe I'll make a sauce. I always keep lots of tomato paste handy. Maybe I'll come up with a homemade sauce that I can just put in the fridge and boil the pasta whatever night that I'm gonna make it. Okay, so I'm boiling some water to make spaghetti for dinner tonight, along with that sauce. And then I went ahead and chopped up items for a marinade for a pork loin that I have thawing in the fridge right now. So now in the morning when it's thawed, I just throw it in here, and it can marinate while I'm at work tomorrow. It'll be perfect. All right, so it's a little bit later in the evening. I have one appointment tonight for a consultation. So I'm going to head over to the shop and do that. I'm really, really excited to meet this bride. She doesn't live too far, which is nice. And she has some fun ideas of stuff she wants to do with her dress. So I'm really, really excited for this one. I hope I can get some footage of it. I'll see if she's down. I understand not everybody wants their dress recorded where they're fitting. Obviously, I don't want to have them, change it or anything like that. But it's always fun to see some behind the scenes. So hopefully she's down for that. All right, so I just got that fitting finished. I'm really excited. We're gonna do a take-in at the zipper through the booty to get this fitted on her just a little bit better. The rest fit super dreamy. It needs a little bit of ease at the neckline, which is that pin right there. So just a hair needs to come in up at the neckline, so I'll stitch in and ease by hand. And then we're gonna be making some off-the-shoulder swags in a similar fabric as the lace. So I will build a base like this. And then I have some lace here that I can cut up into appliques. That looks like this, which goes really, really pretty. I have one at home that I think will be like a touch more spot on. This one gets smaller towards the end of the pattern and more dense towards one end. This one has really, really similar leaves. Like, look at that. That's almost exactly the same leaf as right there. So what I'll do is mix a couple into the bodice, or like move some from the bodice to the sleeve to kind of blend it in a little bit. So that way they look exactly like a match. There weren't detachable sleeves made for this dress, so that's our best option. And then we have a French bustle pinned. Oh, isn't that dreamy? I am in love with the glitter tool layer in here. It's the little dot kind, and I just love it. It's so cute. This dress fits her really well overall, so I'm really, really excited about that. We're not doing anything crazy or anything too wild. We have a little belt to sew down on top. And then I'm going to remove the ribbon at the waist, so that way it doesn't have the bow on the back. I feel like the bow on the back kind of makes it look flower girlish. No offense if that's your jam, but I like getting rid of the bow if that's her vibe. So I'm going to sew that right on top of the existing belt, so that way it's not too expensive. Just like that. Unfortunately, these beads are pretty small under here, so it should be fine. If this comes off nicely though, which it might, I could take it off for her, but if she has plans to resell it, I don't want it to be bald under there. So anyways, that's the end of my fittings for today. Let's go home and see if we have some sewing room time. All right, we finally made it to the sewing room, and I just spent way too long getting this rack in order with all my work. I also got my new rug put down. Check out my compression socks. These are absolutely necessary for being on your feet all the time. So let's get over to do some sewing now. Okay, so finally sitting down to do some sewing. It has been a very long day. My room is still pretty cluttery, and I'm desperately needing to do more organization, but you have to balance it out with all the sewing work to be done as well. There's there's always cleaning to do. There's always organizing to do. There's always other tasks to do, but the sewing's got to happen. So right now I'm working on sewing down some lace, which is so relaxing and wonderful. I am very excited. This dress is on second fitting, so I've already gotten like the main taken, hem, bustle, all that good stuff is done. And now we're down to the final little last polishing bits. Look at this cup. Did a cup sculpt on this bride. And you can see she's all taken in. I need to do the final press on this, yes, but it's pretty round and smooth. It's so neat to see in the camera too, because it looks good in a photo even. I actually really love doing lace dresses for this reason, because you can lift everything, cut around everything, and put it all back like you were just never there. Like you would never know that that was all cut up. So that's the take-in that I'm doing through this. And I love this so much. So this particular dress is part lifting and part cutting. So certain sections of the lace I'm actually picking up and off, and then certain sections I have to clip around through everything. So it just kind of depends on where things are going. So, and then I took in the back, and this is all just the lace to be put back down on there. So I'm really excited for that. I've got a million other little things here just hanging out on the table that I really need to clean up as well. There's more over there even. I'm trying to match a specific color of ribbon. My brain's exhausted. So I bought all these different sizes and colors. Believe it, these are all different colors. I mean, I know that you can actually see that, but most people would be like, oh yeah, that's just ribbon. But these are all different shades of vanilla and taupe and platinum. And honestly, I think the one that I need is going to be closest to this platinum. I have a dress this color that I'm working on. It's gorgeous. Beautiful beadwork. We're kind of shearing out the front of that dress. There's just never enough space or time in the day, is there, to like get everything where you want it to actually go. But I am so excited. And then the last thing I've got to do on this dress is replace the loops. I saved this till the very end because we were still trying on the dress right there. And her bridesmaid was like, are we addressing that? And I was like, don't worry, I got you. It's happening. We'll put all these new loops in. They'll be fresh and nice. So that'll be lovely. But yeah, I saved that till the end because I don't want to ruin the new nice loops that I'm going to put in as well. So yeah, this one, I'm actually going to try to finish this one today or tomorrow so I can move on to the next item. But yeah, this was looking so beautiful. And then I also have her veil to do just a little bit more of a color match on, just to get it just a hair closer to the color of the dress. It's really not like significantly bad as far as the color goes. It's totally passable, totally fine. I just get really picky with color. Of course, I sit down and my nippers are not right here handy. That is how my life goes. I love that for me. Well, I always have a razor handy, so we'll just do that. Not a lot of people like using razors, but this is one of my favorite little tools for lifting lace off. I use a bunch of different tools depending on what's going on. Actually, where did I put them? They're somewhere. I have a pair of slant edge Kai scissors that are mini that I don't want to say found. Do you ever put something in a safe place and then forget about it, and then you go to look for it and you don't remember where that safe place was? That's where they were. They were there in a safe place, and I found them the other day, and I cannot wait to use them because they are so cute. And I remember when I got them, I was like, what am I going to use these for? Because they're not quite like an applique scissor, you know, they don't have like a blade, like the scoopy blade on them, but they would probably be really good for this type of lace lifting. Gosh, I wish I knew where I set them. I was really set on getting my rack in order and my carpet put down. I'm trying to use the carpet to help keep some of the glitter from tracking through the whole rest of my house. It's bridal life. It's always a hot button issue between seamstresses is to charge or not charge for glitter. um, mitigation. I was gonna say glitter damage, but like it's not permanent, obviously. But like as a bridal seamstress, your house gets full of glitter. It's just how life goes, and most of us just cope. We deal with it. Do you put on an extra charge, or do you just kind of build it into the price? And honestly, for me, it's just the cost of doing business. Like dresses are glittery, sequins happen, and I have to clean anyway. So it's kind of just part of my overhead at this point. I don't have a separate glitter fee. I don't think there's anything wrong with charging a separate glitter fee though. Kind of depends on how you present it. Because back in the day, I used to charge a travel fee, and people didn't like it. It was $5. Okay, it was a $5 travel fee because I was mobile. And when I got a space, I would offer to still be mobile for them, but if they wanted that service to not come to my physical location, I charged a $5 travel fee. And I hadn't felt good about charging the travel fee when I didn't have another option to offer them. But as I had more options to offer them, I was like, okay, well, now I feel good about charging this because they have a way to avoid this fee. I'm not just like, charging them fees when they have no choice about it because that was the only thing I offered. So I had some people that didn't like the $5 travel fee, which, I mean, the word fee is not cute for anybody. Nobody likes hearing the word fee. But it's just, that's just life. Things cost money. So eventually, what I did was just kind of raise the prices all around on my mobile work, and nobody said anything. Nobody said anything. They just paid for it, and I just didn't have a travel fee. It was just built into the price. So I think there's something to that. Sometimes people just don't want to see the word fee on anything. We all get feed and taxed to death, so sometimes it's nice to just not see that, even if it's charged for somewhere. So I just kind of factor everything in as far as the cost goes and the time things are going to take. We also did just get a new vacuum that I'm really, really excited about because it's specifically for like pet hair. And I know glitter is much smaller than pet hair, but it's like says that it's good for allergies because it gets dander. And I was like, well, that's about the same size as glitter, frankly. Some of these glitters are the exact same size. So I'm really hoping that that'll help do a lot of good for me in here because I feel bad that my whole house is full of glitter, but I'm not feeling so bad about it to where I'm going to be like, no glitter dresses. Because I know some people have made rules where they won't take glitter dresses, and I probably won't ever be there mentally because, like, it's just glitter. You just learn to live with it, live around it. It's not really that big of a deal. It's just life. Oh, isn't it so much fun when you're sewing the lace down and it all just goes flat and smooth? I love it. Oh, this is why I love being a seamstress. There are so many things in life that I can't do anything about. You know, I can't affect change where I want, when I want, all the time. But when I'm sitting here with this needle and thread, I can get it exactly the way I want it to go. And I love that. This feels nice. I think sometimes people think this is what we get to do 100% of the day. And I really wish it were. Obviously, you got to do fittings and admin and stuff, but this is the truly like joyful part of what we do, isn't it? I always sit here and I think about the bride and I think about what her life is going to look like and just all those nice things. That's why I ask lots of questions at fittings because I like to, you know, think about him and or do a little bit of praying or whatever your vibe is as a human person. I just like to put out good intentions for this couple that's about to enter into a lifelong commitment or at least a significant commitment. I know that some people get real down on marriage nowadays, but it's hard. Marriage is hard. Any part of adult life is difficult, and asking another person to do adult life with you is challenging because you're asking somebody to be there with you on your best days and your worst days, and they don't really know what that's going to look like because nobody is, privy to the future. But having somebody there with you during the difficult times and the good times is lovely, but sometimes you don't want anybody to see like your weak moments. And sometimes you get shy when you do a good job and you're like, somebody's here watching me. But yeah, that's just all the stuff I think about when I'm doing all this sewing for this person. Sometimes I'm thinking about like their fun trip they're going on. I have a bride going to Greece right now, and I'm so excited for her. My aunt took a trip to Greece once a long time ago, and then we decorated her room with a bit of a Greece theme after that. And she loved the olive oil there, and she was talking about how gorgeous the men are over there, and the beaches and the buildings, and all that nice stuff. I feel like anytime I have brides that are anywhere near the water, I'm always like, tell me about the seafood you're going to be eating. And every so often I get one bride that's like, oh, I don't like seafood. I'm like, try it there though. Just like check. Because could you imagine not trying seafood when you go to like Greece or Italy or something where that's just like what they do. They just have lots of fish and delicious seafood. Like, I don't drink, but like if I went to Italy, I might try wine there because like it's Italy, right? If you're gonna go there, you gotta do the things and try the things. So yeah. You did ask what I was thinking of while I'm sewing, didn't you? I could have sworn I heard that. But yeah, I generally will put a movie on or something to listen to in the background. I do impress myself every so often because I didn't realize how long I can just talk to myself to a camera for a long time. I have lots of thoughts rolling through my head at any given moment, and it's nice to let them come out sometimes while you're working. Oh, this is gorgeous. So the lace that I'm flattening right now is like at the small of her back, and I got it really nicely just like suctioned into the back of the small of her back. It's going to look so great. I always call that spot the doorbell because before you fit it, the fabric is like, away from her back and you can go ding dong. You can push the dress towards her body. So I always joke that it's a doorbell. Oh, that looks so good. Now, sometimes when you're doing the lace lay down on this, it looks weird like on the hanger because it doesn't lay flat anymore because you're sculpting it. So this is where you have to trust your pins, trust your measurements, trust yourself and the shapes that you've made because it might not look like what you think is correct, but it will sit on her perfectly. And sometimes I'll let them know that because if they're going to take that big shot where they hang the dress up flat, it might not look 100% symmetrical or perfect, but that's because we aren't symmetrical as human people. It'll still look good at a distance and stuff, but when it's really contoured, it doesn't always look the most appealing flat or, like I said, on a hanger. A lot of vintage clothes that I have repaired or worked on in any sort of capacity, they're definitely not like cute on a hanger because they were made to fit a specific person, and they look great on. So I think that's something that was probably more common back in the day because more people had their clothing tailored to fit or like had handmade clothes or whatever. Whereas now we're kind of okay with wearing stuff that doesn't fit to that same degree of accuracy, But in bridal sewing, we're definitely going for kind of I don't want to say an otherworldly level of perfection, but like we are going for as close to ideal as possible. Like I want the shoulder seam on the top of her shoulder. I want the bust seams here, the princess, I want those lined up. I want the side seam, I want lined up. I want everything as close to perfect as possible so that it just looks that effortless. I feel like I use the word effortless a lot in bridal, and that I think that's more me projecting than anything. I don't think I've ever had a bride tell me that they want to look effortless, but could you imagine being one of those people that just wakes up and they just like look good off the go, and like their hair just does the right thing and their skin's just already doing the right thing and they just like effortless. you know? I feel like out of any day in your entire life, your wedding day is when you want to look like that, right? You just want to look perfect, but like you didn't have to try, you know? There's always something so nice about any sort of person that isn't harried, you know, isn't in a rush, isn't stressed, isn't worried. And this is like the physical version of that for me. So if a bride is put together nicely and doesn't have to worry about how good she looks because we already did it, like we already did the worrying during the fittings and the final, and she can just go about the rest of her day knowing that she looks good. Oh, that confidence, it has to show in the photos. That confidence is going to shine and she's just going to look so put together. And yeah, that's the day that you want to feel put together, isn't it? You're spending so much money getting photographed, and I feel like that makes me very, very happy to think about for brides because they'll be able to look back on their photos forever at their, you know, magical day feeling their best. And I love that. Okay, so I got off my patootie to go find those scissors that I was talking about. Here they are. So this has that bent type blunt tip, stainless steel with vanadium. Gorgeous. Little Kai scissors. So figure let's just try these out. I'm gonna open the packaging here. Let's check these. Look how cute. And then the blunt tip feels nice. It's not like Sharpie. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pop this old section out. And let's just see how these perform. Now, I am a creature of habit, and I am very comfortable using snips. So sometimes new tools I have a hard time with because, you know, I just like doing it the same way every time. And there's something to that. You know, you get to be very efficient and you can keep track of your time better. Because, like, if I had to use a seam ripper on a step that I normally use a razor on, it would actually take me longer because I just have ways I like to do things. So this is not that bad. I'm a clip and pull type of person. Okay. The finger holes are very small. Okay. I'm just going to access the row here. Now, I do put this back the exact same way, just because this one's nice and easy to get into. Also, there's no excuse for a shortcut right here. Every so often, if somebody's on a major budget, or if I'm doing like a theater vibe, I've seen people before, you can just sew the other loops behind this, and you can cut this off and just sew this behind it. But you end up having the row of binding showing. So I do try to do exactly what's here just to blend everything that I'm doing away. It's always the goal. I don't think any of us, you know, set out to do lots of shortcuts. We're all trying to be as efficient with our time, both for the bride's budget and for our own personal profit. But there are certain things that are going to show. And at the end of the day, if your fellow seamstress saw it, would you be embarrassed? Because if it's something you'd be embarrassed of, then don't do it. This is one for me that if I had somebody look at this who was another seamstress and they saw that I just sewed it on, I would be embarrassed. So, okay. These are very nice. I like how these grab into the fabric without snagging. I do like that a lot. I usually dig into the stitches with the tip of the snips, and this is giving me that same ability to grab that I like. Because my goal whenever I'm picking anything off is to get like big pieces of thread out instead of having lots of tiny fibers. That's why I do a lot of pulling, because I'm wanting to get, you know, like long sections of thread like that pulled out so it's a less messy. if I can help it. Obviously, you can't always. Bloop. The only difference I'm going to, I've already decided, I like the stitch the manufacturer put here for the, this is the eye, for the hook and eye at the top. I will go ahead and replace this with a metal one though, just because a lot of people miss this and don't end up closing that hook and eye up at all. So I would rather put a metal piece of hardware there so that way they do use it, because it helps keep the button line strong and keep these loops from bagging out again. So that's one change that I will do. I also, when I store the dress, when I put it back in the bag, I close everything up. So if there's a, you can see there's a hook and eye at the waist too, I will zip, close. I do the bottom button and the top button, and then I close up the hook and eye up here as well, just so that whoever is helping her get dressed has to bump into those pieces of hardware, and then they'd be like, oh yeah, I gotta close those too, because if you just leave everything dangling, someone might miss that there's a hook and eye there to close, and then their pictures look all crazy because it's not buttoned and hook and eyed. Okay. As with any picking, you want to make sure you get out all your old thread because it looks better. Okay. These feel very nice. I actually really like these. I don't generally like something that you have to index really hard. You know, when you pick up a scissor or a snip. I like when you pick up a snip and you just hold it. This one you have to put your fingers into the loops, which takes an extra, you know, 10 seconds, 5 seconds, whatever. But I think it's worth it on these. Ah, there we go. See, that's what I'm talking about. See how that was just one big pull? That's what I'm aiming for. Take out every little piece that I don't need. I remember learning this when I was a very young seamstress, that if you have to take every thread out because it will make a better product. All those little bits will get in your way otherwise. And I remember thinking that was a really picky detail, but it definitely makes a huge difference. Otherwise, those little pieces stick back out and get in your way. You can sew them in harder, like they get stuck. There we go. Yeah, okay. And I'm gonna just be very ginger right down here where the loop goes into the, I just want to get the tip in there and cut just the few stitches that I need. This is when having the blunt tip is helpful because you can kind of nose the scissor down and then decide where you're wanting to cut. Like, it's not, I haven't cut anything yet because I haven't got where I want it to go. There we go. So that is nice because my snips have a sharp tip, so they will cut pretty close to like the first time you press. Okay, yeah, there we go. So yeah, I like to just clip only as many stitches as necessary to get the end of the tail out. Not trying to make my work harder for myself here. There we go. Ta-da! Okay. And yeah, this is definitely more steps than just putting the loops on the back, but I don't mind because it will look really good. Okay. And I'm sorry if the camera, if I'm out of shot at any point, I am looking at the fabric and not at the camera. So at the end of the day, the dress comes first. So I'm making sure I'm doing what's correct for the dress and not always for the camera. I'm sure you can understand. Okay, and then I'm just going to gently wiggle. And see, removing the threads helps you see where you're going to. Otherwise, like, what is that? Where are we? What is happening here? So by getting all those stitches out of the way, you can free everything up and then you can see where you're aiming for. Okay. Here we go. So that's the binding strip. We'll just get the rest of that cleared out. So I'm going to get rid of all of that debris. Just like that. There we go. So now that edge is ready for me to sew back into the bottom. We have very minimal damage done, which is awesome. I'm going to go ahead and clip the top edge of this hook and the eye part here. There we go. And then I'll just re-sew that because I need to see how that opened that up now. I can get in there a little bit better. I'm very ginger and very conservative on how much I take out because I don't want to make more work for myself. But I don't also want to be fighting because I didn't make myself a 1/2 inch larger hole or something like that. So I'm always looking for that perfect balance of how much space do I need. Get rid of all that. Gorgeous. And then this little hole that was here, that's from the dress shop. So that was from like clamping the dress onto people. So I'm going to throw a little bit of a leaf on that. I've saved a couple of little pieces. So I'll see, you know, this little tip. I'll tuck that tip under the flower there because he's kind of loose. So I'll just tuck that under there and then make that be a little, you know, curly tendril. And then I have one that goes on the other side. I saved like a little mirrored set. See how that's a little pair? So I'll put 1/2 on the left and 1/2 on the right so they stay symmetrical. Get all my little bits off here. And honestly, I love this. This is a sign of a good manufacturer, in my opinion. They didn't just cut the lace here. They folded it back, the applique. So if somebody did need to let this out or add fabric on, that's not just a blunt cut piece of lace there. And I like that because you never know when you're going to need to unfold something. And it's really nice when somebody has thought ahead not to just chop things off willy-nilly. I feel like there's not a lot of room for willy-nilly in bridal, but I'm not like a bougie person, but I've realized I'm a little bit bougier than I thought I was when it comes to details because, you know, they matter. Details matter. Okay. There we go. This is nice. Okay, so that's the whole binding strip. So I will press this open for myself so that way it's fresh and crisp. Get rid of all this baloney. Don't need this anymore. Okay. Looks pretty good. Honestly, this dress looks really nice for having, this wasn't a sample per se, but it did have a little bit of shop wear on it. Because usually this part is all busted up if it's like a full-on sample. This doesn't look cute though, so I don't know. Somebody over-clamped this or something when trying it on, but that's why this is an important alteration to know how to do, because I feel like this is really common. There we go. Okay. Now, it's always good to practice not making any clips or holes or anything. It does happen occasionally from time to time, so don't stress about being 1000% perfect. It's more important to know how to fix when you do that than to be perfect 100% of the time. Obviously, 100% perfect is ideal and awesome, but instead of stressing about that, it's better to learn how to handle it once it has happened, because that's just life. Plus, sometimes even like the manufacturer will paste a little piece of lace over a hole, and when you lift it up, you'll discover that that's what they did. So every now and then you'll be like, oh, they covered a hole with that flower. So it happens to all of us. Don't take it personally if it happens to you too. Okay, so then I didn't check. This width is pretty close to the same. I should line these. I should line these up on this side. So these are pretty ding dang dong close. Can see that. They're just, honestly, if I could stretch this out just a hair, I might steam this out so that it matches that width a little bit better. Just make sure I have the same number of holes as I do buttons and we're all good. But yeah, that'll be the next step. Sewing this down, putting the binding back on, and then top stitching it just like it was before I opened it, except for that, you know, they'll be good. They'll be all in place.